Wait, Fred, we're rolling. It's 5:30 on Tuesday, October 26th. Call to order the October 26th budget workshop
Yes.
for the Tilton Northfield Fire Commissioners. Let the record reflect that present are all three commissioners, Deputy Joubert, Captain Tovine, and in the audience, Kevin Key.
Can I make a motion to add something to the agenda on record?
I don't think we have this.
We don't. It is just a workshop.
It's just a workshop.
So can we add something?
I guess that's what it is, right?
It's a fire station committee, just because of the timeline of trying to get stuff done before the season, before the voters portion.
Oh, before the voters. Can we add something like that to the, it wasn't on the agenda, but we had the,
It's just a workshop tonight.
yeah.
That's how it was posted.
It can't be added as another? I'm just checking, I'm not sure of the legalities on that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I wouldn't see why. Are you adding something or just bringing up something?
We're trying to get the commissioners to meet on something, and then we meet next week, but we're trying to move things as fast as possible.
So you're trying to get the commissioners to meet with the building committee? I just want to get.
I'm here as a representative of the Fire Station Building Committee, and your last commissioners meeting, prior to that, the building committee had asked John to bring to the commissioners our request that we be allowed to start to solicit design build contractors for the fire station, so that we could begin the process of selecting a contractor. That wasn't done. So we decided at our last fire station building committee that I would represent the committee, because there were some inaccurate statements made by the chief regarding the process of design building, and I was going to clarify those and then ask that you guys, the commissioners, decide whether we can start soliciting design build contractors or not.
So last month I brought up about, we were looking at design build,
Yeah, I remember
and
that,
then
yeah.
the chief explained to us there was 3 types of contracting processes, with engineered, going with an established engineered system as we had in the past with Kyle Barker and BPS, design build, but some of the information for design build didn't come out. It was a little bit confusing, and so we had the 3 topics, and I didn't have enough information to push for that. I come from a working construction background, not from a project manager background. So we wanted to bring up some of that information so that the commissioners could be aware of that and possibly move forward with that as an option, which would probably be a lot less money than to go with the engineer firm and all that.
I think this would be better discussed at a regular meeting.
I'm trying to think, just because it wasn't on the agenda as that, it's more of a workshop.
Yeah.
It was posted as a I think it was posted as a workshop. When I looked on the website today, it said to meet to work on the budget. And I was just worried about the legality. Now, not that I don't agree that there's a sense of urgency with the deadline looming, but if we make a decision now, that has ramifications down the road.
I understand what you guys are trying to
Yeah.
figure out whether it can be presented or not.
Well, it was posted as a workshop, so no decisions can really be made tonight. It would be
When's the
better
next time that we meet?
next Tuesday, the 2nd.
So they could present to us so that we could have the information to think about, for lack of a better word, and then make a decision next week.
Right. You can accept the information.
Yeah, we can accept the, well, yeah, I mean, we can
Yeah.
accept the information.
Did you bring,
I did.
okay, so if you know, that would be the neatest, cleanest way to do it,
Right.
is to present them with the paperwork tonight, and then they will discuss it at their next
And
meeting.
then next week we can,
Yeah.
I mean,
Which
if
is
it's
Tuesday.
a delayed a week, is it, because you guys meet between now and
Tomorrow.
We meet tomorrow, but we won't meet tomorrow.
Right, it was based on tonight's meeting to
Yeah.
move forward with that. The request, when I had sent it, I was asking about that, and miscommunication and my vacation threw it all off.
We won't meet again until the second Tuesday of.
Correct.
So just next Tuesday, make sure it's on the agenda and.
Right.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's on the agenda for next Tuesday, but we'll take the information tonight,
Yes.
and this way we can, and then we can be, instead of wasting time talking about it next week, well, we can talk about it next week, but we
Yeah,
won't have to
and I
do
don't
a
mind-
presentation.
I don't mind coming back
That
next week.
picture's good
That's-
too.
That's information that describes exactly what design build is. Design build is the least expensive and most owner-friendly method of contract, of building and building. That's a very short explanation of how the design build process works from the Design Build Industry Association of America. There's a lot of great design build contractors in New Hampshire. BPS happens to be one of them. There's a lot of others. But what the committee has decided, and this comes from a number of members of the committee who are very familiar with the construction process, is that design build is the best way for us to go. Gives the owner and the owner's representative, whoever that ends up being, whether it be the fire station building committee or the commissioners or some other group, the most flexible amount of choices when it comes to building a building. Because you work as a team. So you have the owner's representative, the contractor, and then all of the representative from whoever the contractor hires for all the subs, mechanical contractors, electrical contractors, all down the list. And I have spoken to a number of my customers who are design build, and they all say the same thing. Right from the beginning, the owner gets to make the most decisions. The owner can hire their own architect to work with the design build contractor if they choose to, or the design build contractor can use one of their architects. The owner can have multiple contracts and hire their own. If the owner happens to decide that, hey, we like this mechanical contractor, we're going to hire him and have a contract with that contractor directly, or let the design build contractor do all of that themselves with input from the owner. When it comes down to the simplest little things like fits and finishes, do we want oak doors or do we want pine doors? Well, the owner gets to decide in the design build process. But when you go with the design bid build, which is the traditional form of building a building, that's what the Tilton Police Station was done, or how the Tilton Police Station was done, you have fewer choices once the design is in place. So you spend time working with an architect, you make all those decisions, and then it's pretty much set in stone and you can't make any changes. When you work with the design build process, all of the contractors, all the subcontractors are used to working in a flexible environment so that you make a change on the concrete floor that affects not only the concrete contractor, but maybe it affects the HVAC guy or the electrical or the plumbing guy because it changes where his undergrounds have to go. Well, that's not a problem. But when you have a set in stone design, then the architect and the engineer have to come back in and redo everything, and it becomes very expensive and becomes limiting because they'll tell you, oh, well, we can't do that. We heard that in our previous committee meetings with the architect telling us, You can't put a 14,000 square foot building on the Park Street property, when in fact, you can. So to avoid those kinds of issues, the design build process allows you to make those kind of changes, and contractors who are part of that team are used to that, and they're prepared to work in that environment. So if after going through that short little description of what design build is, if you guys want more information, please feel free to contact me. No, but it's KCATE at hooksitbrentatool.com.
Thank you.
There's 2 T's in Hooksett.
No dashes though.
No dashes. It's all one word. Lastly, you know, I talked with one of the superintendents who works for Sullivan Construction the other day, and I asked him how their design build process works. And he said that, he says, well, first thing is the owner meets, you know, once you decided, if you say you were going to go, you got, you know, go with Sullivan Construction, and then the owner meets with the owner of Sullivan Construction, the project manager, and the superintendent. So you know the entire working team for that contractor, and they sit down and they hash out, okay, what do you guys want to do, and how do you want to do it? So it is a very flexible and least expensive way of putting up a building.
So sorry I didn't get on the agenda.
No.
I screwed up being gone, and I did not open my email for a week on this one.
Kevin, do you have a copy of that we could have
No more vacations for you.
an extra one?
I do, I can't for a record.
Thank you.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just some I didn't understand the 3 different styles of process. The chief kind of explained some of it. It just started muddying the whole waters. The committee talked about it afterwards, and he deals with projects better than I do. So that's why we definitely wanted him to come and speak to this a little bit more as an SME than I am on this part of it.
Because I've been around construction, I know how they, I mean, a lot of them make money off, that's how a lot of them make money off, there's subs. And you have no control over it.
Right.
And there's a lot of add-ons, believe
Yes,
me,
there
trust
is.
me.
But not.
No, not, well, if you got control of them, you know.
Right.
It all depends on when you change something that decides whether it becomes an
Yeah,
add-on.
if concrete's already poured before you put the pipe in the ground, then
That's an add-on. Right, right.
So if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I know you have a lot of work to do on the budget, so
thank you for bringing something over and coming and speaking. No, I appreciate that.
I'm happy to come next week if you.
We are here.
Okay, I've put it on the agenda already.
Yeah,
Okay.
next-
Thank you
Same
very much.
time, same place.
Oh, hopefully.
I may or may not be on time, but that's that's a week.
I would have been on time, except I can't walk very well right now.
Oh, sorry, I hope that realigns.
Oh, it will.
Roll down the road, that'll be good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for this. He explained it better than I would have.
What are you giving us here? Catherine?
Oh, that's the timeline.
No, let's not look at that. I don't want to look at that.
You don't have to look at that tonight. It's just
Information.
information.
Well, we have to figure it out at some point. We gotta make sure that we're gonna reach our,
I'll make sure.
We've never been like that.
all right, where are we going on this page, on this bad boy? Election.
I do have to leave at 7:30 tonight.
Well, yeah, that's usually our hard stop, so.
Sorry, I took up 10 minutes.
Oh, no, that's okay. No, my wife's in Atlanta at work right now, and my
I thought you just
watching
said
my
your wife
son.
was in labor.
No, no,
You can go.
I'm committed. I don't know if I'm that committed.
On page 3,
Okay.
you haven't done elections or legal expense.
I think it's hard for us to know if we can do elections because I don't know where and I'm only speaking for me, but I don't see where, if we know we're gonna have to hold a special meeting or not.
Well, the special meeting would be before the next district meeting.
Right, but
Is
if
it
it's,
going to be
it'd
in
be, yeah, it would be-
2021 or
but it could be,
2022?
if it's in January, how do we know? I'm just, I don't know.
Right, but
If it's in if we hold our special meeting in January,
It'll be next year's budget.
it'll be part of this budget.
that we haven't even voted on at the time. So then we get into that encumbered, and before you even have voted on it. So you kind of danged if you do, danged if you don't.
I get it. Same thing with legal expenses, is this gonna carry on? I have a hard time making that decision at this point in time.
Okay, so,
Is this 2021 actual, how current is that?
that is through Friday.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay.
but does that include our bill for the last court appearance?
The last, no.
So
It
this will
includes-
go up significantly more?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay. When there was the motion to dismiss, that was brought, that he had to go
Right.
on the 14th or something.
right.
Correct. Which, next week we'll hear if there's a
Yeah,
determination, I assume.
there hasn't been a determination. has
Not
there?
yet.
Okay.
Well, I thought there'd be a quick one on that one.
Well, you know.
All right, so that is a hard one to nail down, unfortunately.
And then the other three, the Social Security, Medicare, and retirement, are dependent upon what you guys
Yeah,
decide
'cause
on
those are
wages
just,
and salaries.
those are just percentages.
Right.
Right, all right,
On page 4, water,
order.
this is for
Next year's
next year's usage,
domestic use.
domestic usage.
And that's based on what they billed out accordingly, based on what they said they were gonna bill us for the domestic side of things.
Right.
So 590 is what we've gotten so far, but is that 590, is that like where two are at the old way and 1/4 at the new way?
That is all of the old way.
Okay.
And we know that that there's a potential of an increase in rate, for domestic at least.
Right.
I almost would say go up to the 1,000.
It's 1,400 for both of them.
Yeah, but do we need to make a motion and all that first?
I'll make a motion that we
That's why I
bring
stopped.
section 412 water to the floor for discussion in the amount of $1,400.
I'll second it. Okay.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Oh, no, it's a motion. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, it's
Now it's the discussion.
yeah, sorry. I'm rusty.
Okay. You'll pick up quick.
All right.
John will kick me. Or Paul will stab me, one or the other. All right,
So I could see that there is a potential increase coming.
Yeah, but it's gonna double, that's what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
spend
practically
740,
double.
it's almost double.
Yeah.
They can't do that. I mean,
that's just because we're actually metering the fill lines now, right?
We will be. They haven't switched over to that yet because
But that's the biggest.
that is the biggest.
Because right now, we don't meter that, right?
Correct.
How often do we use the fill lines?
So, yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Do it? Well, I know we've asked the question before, you know, how many fires have you had that you use fire hydrants? But that's different. This is, I mean, you could just go out,
You go out.
spray down a mulch bed fire and then come back to
Back
the
and
and
fill,
fill. Okay.
So with it switching over to supply line refill, I think that we will probably see a metered increase significant. I'm
Yeah, no,
not even sure the 1,000 would cover it, but it's gonna,
it gives it a ballpark. It's just like with the shed park tower, shed road tower. We didn't know what that was gonna be, so we just put something in there to take a stab at it and have something at it. Because that's,
because we appropriated, so the actual so far with 2 months left, pretty much, is already up to 740, so it's almost gonna be, that's really 500 more than was appropriated.
no, it's 260, 160 more than, less than was appropriated. 900 was
To the
appropriated.
900 for appropriate, so
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 we're
far
only-
we used 740, so that's probably right on
Yeah.
path to hit that mark.
So, I'd go with 1400.
I think that at least it's locking something in.
Paul? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, probably close.
So,
Then you have your motion in a second.
yeah, so all those in favor of total water for $1,400 signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All All
The
right.
next is the repairs and maintenance, the vinyl siding and the railing for the fire escape.
Did we get estimates on that? Oh, wait,
We haven't
make a
gotten,
motion,
I'll
make a, oh, go ahead,
I'll
Paul.
make a motion, we, line 430.01, fire station, maintenance repair and maintenance.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second, all right.
Yeah, I can.
Now we can-
the chief had people come and look at it, but he hasn't received the estimates yet.
We have one estimate.
We have one, and that figure is what's
The
here.
9870.
Right, those
Yeah.
figures are
I
those.
mean, if we can't get a second
I
or a
would,
third estimate,
well, for the replace the railing and fire escape, I think that we should still hold off on that until that second estimate comes in. I know we're getting close to the completion of our portion of it, but we might have that second one as a comparison at least come in. So to just go with this one without. And the interior painting, no, I'm sorry, it's the one above it, the vinyl siding. Okay, that's,
Yes, the vinyl siding and the railing.
and the person who came in, was he one or both
two.
siding?
I don't know.
I don't know, I haven't seen them.
Okay. I think we kind of need to at least get a second estimate on that.
Yeah, but, I mean, I just know from personal experience, it's hard getting,
Anyone these days.
you know,
Mhm.
if, we're lucky we got one,
Yes, we are. I mean, that another person came out and looked at what we needed done,
yeah.
and we've heard nothing back.
I know that,
How long was that? I'm sorry.
I don't know who it was.
No, timeframe. Do you
Oh,
know?
that was 2 or 3 weeks ago anyways.
I know the, I know the town is trying to get, the pavilion at Riverfront Park reshingled, and they've gotten one estimate, they've had like 6 or 7 look at it, and it's just too small a job for anyone to take it.
Got it.
I actually know a couple of people, well, let me talk to a couple contractors I know that do small work like this. I do know a couple that, I'm sure it'd be a lot cheaper than that.
I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of holding off on those two for right now.
Okay.
At least you can get a price from him, anyhow, a couple, 2 guys, get a second price.
Yeah.
He'll come down with the best price, I know he will.
So we'll,
Just table that.
table that for now. Can we table, or we have to take back our motions?
Just rescind your motion.
Just rescind your
second.
motions.
Rescind your second?
Sure.
Rescind your motion?
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Okay, good. Page 5, under insurance, those are the actual figures that we received. Workers' comp,
Where's the little dash that says decrease of workers' comp? No? Was there an increase?
it.
Oh, it's the same.
It was the same,
Well, that's good.
yes.
Well, you mean it's the same as last year?
Right,
Now, let me ask you a question, does this include the new people?
yes,
And why would it be the same as last year then?
because there was no increase on that.
But we put on 4 additional people last year.
Or was it last year? It's been that long, huh?
It's been 1 year.
No,
Save for people.
No, it hasn't been 1 year. It's based on 2020 salary, right?
Right,
Workers' comp.
right, it's based on 2020.
Okay, so
Because it
before the
goes,
4.
it goes
Okay.
July to July.
All right.
So we actually spent 30,121.
Well, that's because we got a credit. See, what happens is they tell us it's not going to exceed this amount, and then partway through the year, if they discover that they're overcharging us, they give us a credit.
Okay, now the other question I'm gonna ask is, the workman's comp,
Mhm.
when this SAFER grant, that money does not come out of there to pay that? I thought it covered everything.
I don't think it does. It's
Right,
workers' comp.
but, yeah, it didn't make any difference in the premium.
The premium, so they always tell you what your actually, we didn't make this a motion yet.
I'll make a motion, we line 4196, insurance,
Workers' comp.
workman's comp,
Right.
workers' comp.
I'll second it for discussion. Sorry.
Yep, I'm in.
So the,
I'm not sure if the safer people are,
I did.
if that's
no, but,
reimbursed for the.
no, but
workers'
you
comp.
tell them how much your payroll's gonna be, and it's basically just a percentage of your payroll.
That's right.
And it's, if payroll is,
That includes the safer
Whatever.
people, because I had to
Yeah.
give them the figures for our payroll.
yeah, so it includes the safer people.
Yes,
So it didn't change.
No, it did not.
So the percentage that they charge us could have gone down, but the payroll or whatever,
Right.
it just doesn't change. Or we didn't have that many cases, I have no idea.
Is it a rate based on person or based on their salary?
Okay.
So is it like
Yep.
16 employees, so that amount divided by 16 employees, or is it based on?
It's based on salary
Okay.
and position.
So that throws it off, okay.
You looking for planning board?
Yes.
So go down that hallway. Is it dark down there?
No, not really.
No, this light's on upstairs.
Okay, yeah,
Up
go
the
down that
stairs.
hallway, then up the stairs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So, I guess what I'm getting at it, I'm just curious, if we didn't have them 4 people on there.
It wouldn't make any difference.
It's the same
The
amount.
premium would be the same.
But there again, at the end of the year, we might get a rebate.
could
We
do-
might not.
But there, yeah, because we got 4.
They can't
extra
say it's
people.
all of a sudden you owe us 48,000.
No, they cannot, because this is the not to exceed figure.
Yeah. So
It's not going to exceed that
Worst case
amount.
scenario figure.
Right,
And the figure last year was 30,000 though,
that's what we ended up
paying.
paying,
You pay that in installments or is that one time?
one lump,
Okay. So we paid 30,000 because we had a rebate.
Right.
Because we had a good workers'
because we
comp
had
rate.
a good, yes.
So we had this many days without an incident. I got you. Yeah, because when I remember when we opened the sports center, our first time we got workers' comp, I thought, whoa, we had
Mhm.
payroll, whoa, wait a
So we're
minute.
paying approximately $35.89 a month is what it works out to, which kind of keeps us on track. If I took the 47,565, divided that by 12, then multiplied by 10, which gets us on
Pretty, you get 46.
47,565, where'd you get that?
the appropriate, oh, I'm sorry, the 43,077.
Oh, okay.
The line below it.
All right.
So I took that, divided it by 12 to figure out per month, and then I just, as a safety check, I did times 10, and I came up pretty close to the 30. It was a little bit plus or minus,
Mhm.
like 2,000 or 3,000. So monthly, we're paying that, that's what we're paying monthly, and that's currently being, and you said the Safer Grant people are in there right now?
Yes,
20 people. So
So we only have 16.
but you see this,
Or Safer.
wait a minute,
No, 16.
there's more
Oh, there's
than,
19. There's 19.
No. before you go figuring how many people, you've got 19 career firefighters, no, 18 career firefighters,
16.
whatever, you've got, and then there's Beth and I,
Myself, Four for the administration stuff.
right, and then you've also got the call company.
So call company calls into this too?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't taking that into
Yeah,
consideration.
you have to take all of that into consideration.
All right,
And then you really have to take into, okay, we have
like 9.
an administrative person, we have a part-time administrative person, we have a chief, which is considered an administrator.
Right.
Primarily.
Right,
The deputy chief, which is somewhere in between, whatever that category
he's
might be.
considered fire.
Okay, and then you have all the career firefighters, and then you have the call firefighters.
Right.
So,
There is a question though. If a full-timer gets hurt, he gets a percentage of his pay. So what
Right.
that's called. What about a volunteer if he gets hurt?
Same thing.
The percentage of what he makes on the job or percentage of what he made? on-
They take into consideration all of his income,
Okay, all of his.
and he gets a percentage of that.
Okay, all right.
That was the one we were talking about last
Yes.
month. It's
Okay.
a roll-up of
Yeah.
a Cisco driver on the side, plus what he does here,
Right,
Yeah.
all that.
Okay,
if he was self-employed or whatever.
Okay.
it would be.
right.
Okay.
I guess I'm all set then.
Any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor of line 260, workers' compensation amount $43,077 signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Then we have property. So I'll make a motion that we bring section 480, property and liability insurance, which includes line 480 and 480.01, for a grand total of $31,178 to the floor for discussion. Motion and second by John.
So
Discuss.
it's gone about 10 grand?
4.
4.
We
Okay.
approved-
The not to exceed went up 4.
Yeah, but we only spent 20 so far.
Right,
20
because,
21,
because,
21.
because we got a little bit back on that one too.
but it went up 9%.
Right. That's the not to exceed amount.
Right, so 27 times 9% would be roughly 31,178.
Right.
If it was gonna be a calculator.
So, I guess, now where's the insurance, where do we get the insurance from?
Primex.
It's right next door. Okay.
That's about the only one we have out there for us.
That,
Yeah.
and that is,
Yeah.
And there's no other insurance companies around that?
no.
Good.
So I think we looked into this last year.
Yeah,
too,
we did.
And Primex kind of came out on top.
Yeah.
Since I remember we had the same discussion last year on that one.
Yep. Just have a little bit. We don't know what we'll need or what we'll do. Now, will it go up because of the new engine at all?
That's included in, it can't go over that
9%.
9%.
Right, but do they know that that we got a new engine, or we're in the process of getting a new engine, or we don't have an engine now?
They know we don't have an engine now,
Okay.
and then when I get all the paperwork on the new engine, I'll give them that
That's how the
information.
policy.
Do we get a rebate?
No, probably not.
No,
Probably get a, oops, well, our,
they
we don't.
can't go over that.
We don't, yeah, but we
That's
lost,
not
we lost an
conceded.
engine, we don't have.
well, we're getting an ambulance coming on board next year. We're getting an engine going on board this year, and then in 2022, we have an ambulance and an engine
Right.
coming on.
Right,
So that'll be interesting. But when's the renewal, like,
July 1st.
so it's July? That would be, they have you buy a barrel, you need insurance.
Mhm.
They know that too.
I just think, I just look at liability and look at our.
We're a little disappointed with them not being covering any of our legal fees, but
It says, yeah, it's not, well, it would be different if someone was suing us for something. If someone was suing us because, you know, we forgot to lock the back doors to the ambulance and they bounced out, then that would be different. But if they, I got dropped out of an ambulance once, so I speak from experience. Not that they didn't lash it over, but they didn't set the thing and the thing went.
It can happen.
It can.
No, I know it can. That was just hyperventilating. Stuck in it
I'm
only
good with that.
23 minutes
Oh, no.
with 20 people
Oh, no.
in college. All right, anything else? Discuss on that. All those in favor of the motion signify, in the total property and liability insurance for $31,178, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Motion passes.
Okay, next is salaries and wages,
that's the only thing we got left, right?
pretty much.
Oh, boy.
Come on, guys, let's do it, get it done.
Yep.
I got it for 7:30.
We can make it easy. We can make it real easy, matter of fact.
What's that?
Hold the line.
What was our final with the call force baseline that we ended up with last week? I didn't bring that document with me.
What, the 110?
Yes, what did it come out to for the baseline, for the call firefighter? Because that also fit onto this graph. I remember last week, or last time we were talking about what we're actually paying call firefighters now coming.
Oh, right.
That number.
That number, okay.
Yeah.
So let me pull that
Sorry.
up.
I'm not talking clearly these days right now.
It's okay.
I haven't been drinking, maybe that's what I need to do to fix it.
All right, I know that it was to include an increase in the call wages to $13 an hour for the probationary, and then once they're off probation, at $16 an hour.
So it was about $1 an hour raise. raise.
Yeah, because right now they're getting 12
Yeah.
for probationary.
And if they're off probation, they're getting 15.
Let me double check that before I answer. Come on. Blah, blah, blah. It's 14 off probation
Currently,
currently.
and we talked about going to 15 or 16.
It says 16 in the narrative.
I thought it was $1 an hour, that's what.
So
we
maybe it was
decided.
15, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because
that's-
we decided $1.
Okay.
Well, that's an important fact to know, though.
It is an important
Yep.
fact to know.
And these are some of the numbers I've been thinking about in my head, but I just didn't grab that sheet with me. So we are going on a sequence, but I think we might be better with that right now, because unless you want to make a motion in a second, but I'm not sure you're going to get one
For what?
to discuss this. We haven't even made a motion.
No, we haven't made a motion. We discussed it.
There's a lot more discussion coming.
Oh, I know there is.
You can make a motion, but if there was
Well,
any...
we did the,
You did the
Call-
call.
call, yeah, already.
Yes, you did the call.
yeah.
Right. That's why I wanted to get the numbers from the call, that we
Yeah.
did that, because is going to play into the thought process here. So I think for right now, I'll make a motion that we accept the call salary, the career salaries and wages as written, but I have a feeling that might get rescinded after the discussion, or amended or adjusted, but at least to get it onto the table appropriate.
I'll second it for discussion,
Yep.
but I have a feeling that we're not going to resolve the
Right.
issue tonight.
But at least now we've done our proper for,
At least now you're going
When's
to
the next time?
discuss it.
When's the next time that the budget committee meets? I have-
It's on the 5th.
On the 5th?
Yep.
So, we have, on our next commissioners meeting, on the 2nd,
Right.
can we add, I'm just gonna jump here, if we don't reach a resolution on this number tonight, we need to have this on the agenda tonight, because I have a feeling the budget committee is gonna roll their sleeves up first on this number.
They are.
Well, I was there.
I know. I wasn't, but I know.
So I just think that if we don't have a number, then we're just gonna be backdooring into whatever the budget committee has, or what the chief has, or coming up with our own number and justifying that. And so,
so you said the 5th is when you guys are meeting.
that's the Friday night, the 5th.
Alright,
So after, that's why I just say, at least if we don't reach a resolution time, which I have a hunch that we're not going to, that we make sure we discuss it. We save, a half hour or 15 minutes for next week to discuss it, because
Do you want me to put it on the agenda as a separate item
Yes.
after you do old business, new business, put down budget?
Yes, please,
just in
Okay.
case.
just in case, because
So, for discussion purposes.
we are in discussion.
Okay. So the $15 off probation is a firefighter 1, or just,
This is call fire.
This-
I know, but that leads into this whole thing, because if you're paying call firefighters one thing, who have no certifications whatsoever, and then your career people who have fire grounds 1, fire grounds 2, if that's the flavor of what they call it now, EMT and a EMT, so a step above EMT. So if you're looking at $15 of someone coming off the street just to sit in the seat, but they can only do exterior, pull a hose and things like that, that's why I wanted to have those things, because now if a call firefighter, because we did talk stipends or increases based on the certifications, so $15 is off the street, off probation, no certifications.
That's fire 1 or EMT.
So that is one or the
One
other.
or the other.
So it's firefighter 1 or EMT.
What if they were a firefighter EMT?
If they're both,
If they're a call
Right.
firefighter
Right.
EMT?
hold on, let me,
I know the
Pull
budget
that
has it all broken out for certifications.
yes.
Right.
All right, so, probationary is 13, and fire level 1 or EMT is 16.
So if they have either one of those,
And then
they go right
if
to
they
16.
have both Fire 1 and EMT, it's 17. If you add Fire 2 in on top of that, it's 18. If you add the AEMT on top of that, it's 19.
CDL in there?
Huh?
The CDL in there?
Driver operated fire apparatus is another $1,
So, okay, now that person
so that's
could be,
19.
now that person could be 20, you just said.
Yeah. They could be $20, which is more than what?
How many
Three
people,
firefighters.
how many people got all these degrees though? And the other thing,
Of the, just the call, of the call firefighter.
And CDL, you said was another $1?
Mhm.
Okay.
This is only on call, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And so the 20 would be call, CDL, Fire 2,
And
AEMT.
Right.
So essentially, I mean, apples to oranges, whatever you want to do it. So a call firefighter with the baseline, with all of the certifications of what we require for a baseline is at $20.
And
And our guys currently are at what?
1859,
Starting 1793.
1793.
so it actually pays more to be a call volunteer.
Yeah, but you're not getting 40 hours.
No,
a
no, I
week.
get that.
and you're not getting the benefits with it either.
No.
The benefits, you add the insurance to it, you add the retirement system to it, then, now what are we talking?
No, and I understand, yep. So yes, so the difference right now, theoretically, if you had to call someone on the call, you're talking $2.07 difference. That our our full-times are below the call numbers, not benefits,
Per hour.
just per hour wages. I mean, yes, the benefits package, you're definitely, that
And that's,
is more,
and I don't know why people don't look at it. A benefit is part of your pay.
it is.
So when you add the benefits on there,
Mhm.
I bet you're talking close to, probably close to $28 an hour. The insurance, the retirement system,
Yeah. Plus the other stuff we were talking about.
yeah, plus all the other stuff.
Right, but for the fire service, they're all doing that. It's not just like we're trying to stay marketable, not at the top of the market. I don't, and this is what I'm dealing with other agencies, set.
We
That
just want to
fine
meet in the
middle.
middle.
And I understand where you're coming from, but this is also a career where if you have a bad day, you may not be able to go into construction or something afterwards. You might be on that workman's comp and all the other insurances we talked about. So the likelihood of it happening is a higher risk factor. And if something did go wrong, it is severe, so on the risk assessment. So this is something
And
that
I agree with
could,
you.
you've lived it.
Yeah, well, let me look at it this way, though. You could take any one of the volunteers, they get hurt. They're not gonna collect what a full-timer gets. He could be
From
like,
us, right.
there's no way he's gonna collect that.
Well,
He
if,
don't have,
if they get hurt on the job as a firefighter, they're going to get the workers' comp.
workman's comp, but they don't have, we have 3 or 4 other insurances in there.
If they're hurt on the job, it's workers' comp.
Just
Those
workman's comp.
insurances, however,
That's for
were different.
anyone.
We,
Right,
But they also have other insurance, you have short-term, long-term
But that's-
disability.
but
but that is only if you're hurt off the job. Those do not come into
But
play
these-
unless you're hurt on.
Okay, and these guys don't have, I mean, all I'm saying is we pay a lot more, and I'm not saying they don't
then
deserve
an
a raise.
hourly wage,
Than an
yes,
hourly raise.
agreed.
These guys have full-time jobs. They come in here and help the fire department. They deserve something. It's not their full-time job. They can't retire out of this. They get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
You do 30 years, I've done 32 years. What did I get out of it? A thank you? That's all I got. A lot of guys, when they got done, thank you for serving. And I'm not complaining. I did it because I wanted to. I wanted to help the town. So I think they deserve what they get. And
So I guess my question is, we're talking about the call company deserves what they're getting? Is that what the discussion is right now?
I think that's, they deserve that. They're putting in,
So the call company, that wage scale that we just walked out, is, you feel, is appropriate for the call
I do.
force? Okay. Call department wages, okay.
simply, they have full-time jobs, they devote, they don't get time and a half. They don't get,
Yeah.
a full-time comes in, he gets time and a half. What's he make an hour then?
Keep in mind, we've already,
You've already approved the call
That was my
company.
question.
Right.
That's right,
So, right, we already approved the call company.
yeah, and I understand.
It's just as a consideration into, if they were to go through the whole thing, the certifications of what it is, and our career firefighters, we're not taking them as probationary off the street, or, I mean, we're expecting level 1, level 2, and here, we require AEMT minimum. Some go to the paramedic and can get an additional stipend on the full-time side of things. So, that's where I wanted to see the baseline of how this is, because it is a career that you can't find people these days.
Oh.
Someone's trying to sell me insurance.
If, on the call company, if they're a paramedic, they get another $1.
Right. So that's a stipend because ALS, it's an additional benefit, so we're not paying Franklin to come in and transport and take
And
the.
I understand all that. I understand all that. All I'm saying is, you know, they devote their time, spare time to help out the fire department.
Yep.
Simple as that.
I can't.
No, yeah, I'm a call guy still in Guilford.
Well, and there again, it's nice to have that, and I think they deserve what they get. Now, I'm not saying the full-timers
yeah,
should, I agree, they deserve something. But we can't just go and give them, you know, okay, I don't know what, you said they start and pay with 16, or it's 18 bucks?
1793.
So you want to bring it up to 18, 19, give them $3 an hour raise?
where do you get $3?
Well, whatever, you want to bring it up to minimum, to bring in the middle.
1987, what I thought was the magic.
We were talking somewhere around 19. It was just under 20, I thought.
I thought it was 1987 because I remember that as the year.
So we're talking $2 and something.
1972.
1972 is what the.
Did they have this?
No, they
We
do
had
not.
it. We had something last time, and I left it. It's not with my.
So wait,
this
what's the
laptop.
current wage, what's the bottom line wage right now?
$17.93.
Minus 19.87. It's $1.94. Well, you just said $3 and it's way
Right.
up. It's $1.94
Okay.
times plus plus
What
plus
we had
plus
from
plus.
last time.
I think there's a couple differences.
There's a couple differences on there, but,
Yeah. We knew that this was.
Right.
yeah.
So,
So the yellow box at the bottom is.
there we go, thank you.
Mhm.
Current proposed at 2275.
No,
That's
that's that'd be the
average. That's,
So the first one is current average of Tnfd firefighter AMT pay. That's what we currently have. We took all of them, we averaged them all out. We're making 1936. The current average of other fire departments in the area, their average is 2278. Proposed starting salary, which is kind of out of order, that's why.
Right.
It's 1972. If we bumped up to 1972, the average would be 2275 for every department.
So I'm gonna come right out and ask you, Tim, because you're a man close to the work, to the guys.
Okay.
Do they feel they are underpaid? Do they gripe about it? Do they talk, I mean, we talk, I mean, people talk about salaries all the time.
Correct.
I've learned this being a selectman where, you know, on the police, they all know what each other makes. It's all public information, they all know, which was like a big shock to me. But
It is.
But do they feel like they're getting, like, man, I could go to Laconia and I could get, you know, a $3,000 or $4,000 sign-on bonus, I could go, and I can make more money and I can have a better.
So I would say over the last year, it's a daily, because there's so many openings.
Right.
Right, and they're being posted and they're advertised
Oh, yeah.
everywhere, so it is a regular discussion that takes place at the firehouse.
But we're not seeing yet, that
Yeah.
exodus of,
Well, we've seen a couple of them go and they've been back, so.
but,
And it couldn't have been about the money, because wherever they went, it was a lot more than what they were getting here.
The last one, that's correct.
Yeah, and so it must be,
His wife's a neurosurgeon, so it wasn't really
Yeah.
about,
Yeah, with him.
about the money.
I know, but they,
that puts it in perspective.
Yes.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, he can afford it.
sugar mama, no, just kidding.
but also I'm saying, I mean, the travel alone is just
But
astronomical.
it's not like, okay, take someone like me, I commute to Guilford every day, oh, not Guilford, sorry, Plymouth every day. So I have a cost. I have 1 hour in the car every day. Okay, I work my 8 or 10 or 12, and I come home. A firefighter works, they come in for, 7,
I leave at 7.
and they leave it 24 hours later, so they have one drive, and then they're off for 2. So they're not doing, so I always notice that firefighters tend to live sometimes further away, unless there's a residency requirement. Some of them live further away from where they work because, well, the ones that I've talked to and that I've known, you know, over the time I've been this, you know, like I knew a guy that lived in Northfield and he worked in, I think it was Everett or something like that, you know, but.
They go to the bigger departments
Yeah,
where
so-
they can do it because you're not, once again, you're talking commute to and from, and with them, it's a commute in the one day and it's a return the next day, and then it's
Well, that's
4
what I'm
days
saying.
of no commute, or 3 days of
Right,
no
but that's what I'm
commute.
saying, where I
Right.
go up every day, Monday through Friday, I drive up and down 93, regardless. I go up at, you know, whatever time in the morning I leave, and I come back 8 hours later. And the firefighters, they go in today, and they come home tomorrow, and then they may have 2 days off, or what's the maximum they have off, or 4? Yeah, so they may have 4 days off, but they're not putting mileage on their car, and.
They're driving to work twice a week.
Yeah.
So I know that the chief didn't include it, and I don't know if this is going to be helpful information, but I did the averages for the 5 departments that I used, Franklin, Plymouth, Guilford, Bristol, Laconia. So the salary, the average for those 5 departments was 42790, right here, for the salary.
Okay,
Just to kind of give you an idea.
so the salary right below the 4,400 was
42790.
4,270.
Holiday, the next line over to the right, is 2778. See it there?
Yep.
For family health plan is 28619. I didn't do anything for family or dental or any of the other.
Okay.
And the total average was 74867.
So that's your starting with benefits number right there, is 74,867.
That's the average for the 5 departments. Ours is 68579. That's the top one.
And there's no overtime built in there, so.
No.
No, not for any of the departments.
Well, no, because like I said, if you read in the paper a year or two ago, Laconia, them guys up there, $100,000, $130,000, $40,000 a year with overtime, that's, and I'm totally get it. That's their job and they should get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But there again, you work 4 days and, you know, you cover the overtime, you can cover an overtime shift and make what you make in 3 days probably with the overtime, or 2 days anyhow. It's just, I don't know. And don't get me wrong, they deserve a raise. How much, I don't know.
And I agree with you that there should be a little bit more compensatory to equal, I'm looking to get that equal across the average. But as, once again, can we afford it as a town to get to that average?
I mean, next year, the people are gonna see, you got 4 guys on there, another year, them 4 guys, they gonna stay on here or not? Or town gonna say, no, we can't afford another, to pay them as much as it's gonna cost to be here. So chances are we're gonna lose. You wanna build a fire station. All these things add up, and that's just the fire department. Can you imagine the police department, the school, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And they don't, like I said, don't get me wrong, they deserve a raise.
So I think we're kind of somewhat in agreement on that portion of it. So that's part of the thing, is that, I know I agree with you, that there should be a raise.
Yep.
I think that's,
What that number is.
right, but I think at least that's a step in the right direction, so that's gate 1. Now, let's figure out.
But here's the other side of that,
Okay.
that a raise here
Affects everything.
affects the next, everyone down the line.
Affects the whole chart.
Affects the whole chart. And my question is, does it have to?
You know, why would, I mean, it's, yeah, it's catching up.
You can't get to one and not others.
Well, I'm just,
So, because I thought this too, it's like whether you do the floor personnel versus this. I mean,
well, no, I'm just, a already told me that that was gonna be one of their issues,
What?
that it's gonna affect
Everybody.
everybody.
Mhm.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, is that how that goes? And I don't know, now, I'm not gonna say my question. I have a question, but I'm not gonna ask it in this forum, I'm gonna find out somewhere else. My
Or do you need to go non-public for it? Because it will affect someone that's not part of the commissioners.
No, it's just, it's a labor question,
Okay?
and,
Go ahead and ask, I might be able to answer it.
no, because it's, hey, Tom, how are you?
Because that's part of my concern, is some of this, because I've had thoughts both ways as well.
I don't know. I don't want to, it's not, it doesn't qualify as reputation, it doesn't qualify. It qualifies under compensation, but it's more,
Never hurt my feelings.
Mine
No.
either.
Do you need to go to non-public to discuss it?
No,
If it's a
because-
personnel matter? Because that's the unfortunate thing, is where there's such a small thing, if you were to talk any one group, hypothetically, if you were to be talking about the chief, or we're talking this is all hypothetical, this is not, but if we were to be talking about a chief position, well, then they know it's either the deputy or the
Right.
chief.
right,
So that's where it's kind of hard to, or if you're talking administration, then it's very hard without, in public like this,
right.
to
Well,
really dive into
remember
it.
one of the reasons why some of the people were mad, not mad, against having 4 firefighters, an additional 4 firefighters, because it brought a number up to a certain point.
They're worried about you.
Oh, they're worried about the union?
Bargaining. Well, no, I'm not, I
Bargaining union?
just thought of it, and I'm just, in my
Mhm.
process of thinking, does it create motivation to go into become a collective bargaining unit?
At-
That's where I don't know.
Yeah,
but-
I can't speak for them. All I know is that every time we talk about it, as long as they feel like there's good conversation between the commissioners
Right.
and themselves and they're being treated fairly, I think that's the biggest thing.
That is the biggest
And I
thing.
think both
No,
sides
and
have
I-
shown that over the years.
No, and I, but again, this is, I mean, you're taking, you know,
Yeah.
and what I had just said, where I know that some people are gonna say, well, okay, the bottom people can, but no one else can, is that gonna be the?
That will,
Is that gonna be the camel that,
It
no, the
could
straw that
be.
breaks the camel's back?
it could very well be.
So,
Did I
So-
answer on that delicately enough?
yes, it
Yes,
was well
you
done,
did,
actually.
very well.
The chief also included the captains. I think you asked for that
Yes.
information.
Because that,
So just so you have an idea, the average captain salary for 3 years is $26.27 per hour. And here's, I think the chief tried to discuss this the last time that you met. There's 2 to 3 departments right now that are making big changes to their
Yep.
budget process.
Everyone is.
So I know Plymouth, for example, has already instituted theirs, so these numbers are already way behind
Mhm.
that we have here.
right.
So I think that the chief's biggest concern is trying not to be the highest, but just trying to be fair.
Well, but that was another, my concern, okay, these are the numbers we have, but, you know, who's going through the budget process now, and who's realizing,
This thing's changing.
Well, we know Plymouth, we know Laconia.
you know, Laconia's already made changes, I don't know if this information is before or after those changes. I've heard, just because I work in Plymouth, that they've made changes.
No, I just talked to the deputy chief today, so
Yeah.
that's confirmed.
All right, so, you know, I know there, Bristol, I don't know anyone in Bristol, and Guilford, I'm sure they are, because they're probably budget season, and Franklin is, and I don't know if there's, their fiscal year started in July, so I don't know if this is a July number or not a July number.
I know the chief recently received these
Yes, he
in the
did.
over the last 2 months, so
So it would have
I
been
think the only 2
current.
were probably that are probably different now on here are probably Plymouth.
Okay. 100% of it was buying.
That's a sweet engine,
A good parade.
real truck. Split rear end though.
So,
Is this something that we could go into non-public to discuss?
What?
I'm just concerned because the different sections we have, the people on the floor, we have the administration, we have the administrative assistants and that, it just, like I said, you can't really talk about it without being a direct throw right. It's so easy to identify. Because like you said, I can see possibly affecting part of the force or the whole force and things like that. Just putting it out there. I mean, you could put,
do you have the criteria for the non-public meeting?
Probably.
Could you pass it out? I'm thinking under compensation, but I don't know. It's not reputation necessarily.
it's not reputation. Then there is, I believe, one of them. But that's why I want to make sure that, I mean, because one option is you can look at it is you do the people on the response side of things.
Well, I don't know.
And that's why I wanted.
Well, okay, let me ask this question, because I'm not quite sure what you're asking, so I'll ask my question, see. So, if this number here,
Which number?
1950.
Thank you. Okay.
Whatever, or whatever the proposal, well, now, let's just say this proposal, this one.
1972.
1972, okay. If that became the number, and that's, I believe, what the chief's budget is based on,
Correct.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
does that affect the administrative side of things?
Yes.
Yes.
Currently.
Okay,
It affects everything.
so it's a blanket,
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
The
Okay.
entire force.
that's what I'm.
And that's
Well,
kind
no,
of
I'm
where.
talking administrative, I'm talking.
No, it even affects the
People at this table, people that are not at this table.
Right.
Correct.
To
It
not
affects
name,
all
I'm dancing
employees.
around names and I'm just.
It
And that's-
affects all employees.
Right.
Yes, okay.
That's kind of why it's to have that open conversation. And you're going to be here either way, but still, it's
What's that? I don't know whether we qualify for anything.
because what they're looking at is a 1.79 increase for
Let's
the
see.
19.72. There's a $1.79 increase to the baseline, which obviously is going to affect volumes.
So the only thing it would affect is here is, could possibly, in my opinion, so I'll read it, is section A. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee or the investigation of any charges against him or her unless the employee affected, one, has a right to a public meeting, and two, requests that the meeting be open, in
If they
which
want to
case.
be a
But it feels like to me, it's
Fucking positions.
for one person. If we wanted to hire you
Mhm.
and figure out your compensation, then we could fall under A.
Right.
But as we're talking about a group of people where we're not gonna say, you know,
Firefighter Smith.
Bucky Jones is gonna get paid this amount, as an example.
Right, firefighter Smith versus Captain Jones,
Right,
specific.
right.
Okay. I didn't know if it fit into there.
I don't know, that's what let me just,
It's
I think
for
you're good
one
talking about
person.
positions.
Yeah.
If you're
if we
focusing
don't
on one
name
person.
names, I think we can stay in public. We have to stay in public, because we're not
Right.
talking about
Well, we
one.
could come out of it with, and that's why kind of, we're trying to be cautious of
Sure,
this.
absolutely.
Because we could step into a quagmire with this, and,
Well, we don't name names,
but
but,
still,
You
you
can-
have
you
two
can-
people representing
but it's,
a party, you have 4 captains, so if you were to
So
talk,
you're
okay, we're
talking-
gonna talk officers, now we're talking 1 of 4. We're talking firefighters, you're
It's the
currently
same- yeah, but
talking
it's-
1 of 12. We're talking
Thank you.
administration, we're talking 1 of 2. We're talking administrative assistants, we're talking 1 of 2.
but we're not
That's-
naming names.
Very true.
We're not saying, I'm gonna use you, we're
Sure.
not saying, you know,
Deputy Joubert.
we're not saying that, we're just
We're not
saying,
saying the deputy, but we're
we're saying as an officer.
administration.
The officer, because I believe you would qualify as an officer, would you not?
I'm administrator.
He'd be administration with the chief.
Yeah. So there's the
Right.
functional operations. You what?
I'm just kidding.
Mess with me, man.
But that's the reason why I've been very cautious with this, because trying to be appropriate and not,
Well, we just can't name names.
that's fine.
And I'd say if we keep it. in
You're saying
general-
our numbers are so small that it's easily
Yeah,
identified.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I get that. We have the same issue on the selectmen.
right,
When
with
we
the
talk
police
about
and
police
stuff and like
stuff,
that. If you
but-
only have 2 lieutenants, it's like,
Well, we have one lieutenant and, so
right,
it's kind of obvious, but,
Obvious.
I
But
just
we
wanted to
haven't-
be appropriate and make sure we cleared that out.
well, it's,
And if we can't, then that's fine, then we'll have to discuss it as it is.
and my question came up before because on the police side, they're unionized.
Right, and on the fire, they're not.
No.
Right.
But it's that we have a CBA with
Right.
the officers.
Right.
But there are some officers that are not part of the CBA, so,
See,
because it's based on rank.
okay, then for discussion, I mean, so we have a template matrix that pretty much talks like we did with them, that it kind of works out. So the person coming in has firefighter 2 and AEMT is this. Then each stage, year, whatever, it goes up that percentage. And if they get more certifications, it also
Steps,
moves down
they climb
the
the
steps
steps.
and stuff.
Right,
I mean, how many steps do we have? 20?
20.
But
Boy, that's,
the question to the group is, do we have to, so it's all based on steps, but in reality, administration could be, and I'm not trying to
No.
shortchange, but administration wouldn't necessarily, you could separate that from that, because they don't necessarily go inside and perform the same duties as the people inside. So you could look at that first response in 1793 of the 16 people to that impacted by that 19.72. That these are just options to look at with that. Is it would that you could get away with it not being the full force, but you then would have to look at what it would be for other things too. Or do you have? Is the family? I'm sorry. One question for you, because the holiday, family, and health, is that a percentage based on their hourly salary, or is that a?
The holiday is X number of holidays
Okay, so it would just be
at their
that.
hourly rate.
So it is based on that, and the family health plan, is that based on their hourly rate, a
No,
percentage?
it's 12%. The employee pays 12% of their health insurance, 100% of their dental.
but that's not, that family health plan isn't 12%.
No,
So the total cost of.
that is
So
the
the total
district's cost.
Is 20, for a family, is 26,773.
So- Yeah, I think so.
And they
something
pay,
like that.
they would pay 12% of it.
Right.
So whatever that is.
Well,
I
can
think
tell
if you're trying to divide up, floor people, administration or whatever, I think the titles are good enough. I don't think you have to dive into going into burning buildings or anything like that.
Right, you don't
I
have
don't know
to.
more fires than any of our people go into fires, really. So I just think if the positions alone probably are good enough to use as that example. I
And-
think if you dive into job descriptions and stuff like that, it'd probably be a little more complicated.
And the chief and the deputy are on salary.
Yes.
So
Okay,
they're
so
not,
they're not, so
Right,
they're
they're
not
not.
already part of it. So if we
Right.
get an increase here, it would not be affecting you because you're a separate contracted
you would,
salary.
right, you would have to figure out what that would be for them separately.
Okay, all right.
The chief's total budget that's included with it, his proposal, for, whatever number it is.
On that matrix, the
Yes,
increase.
that
That is
includes.
that includes-
Kathy, Beth, that includes everybody.
Everybody.
Right, so, I mean, his budget, that 1.2 million
Salaries and wages.
is inclusive,
Right,
it's not broken.
11823,
that is inclusive.
Where are you getting that number, Eric? Just so I can see.
page 5.
Page 5,
Page 5?
Yes,
I
just
just
the
rounded
top
up
line.
I just rounded up to 1.2.
Okay, I see what you,
I just
now I
said-
can
Yeah.
see it as well as, so, the 1.2 for the career salary and
Yes.
wages, got it,
The-
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll can dance around this subject again. The only person that does not qualify for overtime nor holiday pay would be someone
Is it administrative?
would be someone that works part-time.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Part-time roles.
Part-time roles do not,
And volunteers,
no, they're still
not
part-time.
volunteers, call fire.
Call forces.
They do not qualify for holiday pay, overtime pay, unless they work over 40 hours.
Yep.
Insurances,
In this,
vacation.
I'll give you a scenario.
Mhm.
So it's Christmas.
Yes,
The chief can't get anyone to work, or
Mhm.
there's an opening on a shift, and he opens it to someone. I think he could open it to someone who was qualified on the call force to cover a position, as long as we still had a paramedic and whatnot on. Would they just get paid hourly wage if they were filling in for a day?
they would get paid their hourly wage.
Okay, so they don't get holiday pay. They don't. Okay.
And the worst part is, you know, if they work more than 8 hours, they don't get time and a half.
It's based on a 42-hour work week for firefighters,
Yeah.
and
So actually, if they worked a day, it would be 8 hours. It'd be a 24-hour.
it would be 24. But that is just a regular work
Right.
day.
It's almost like per diem.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it'd be straight pay for their
Yeah.
24 hours.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter how many calls you get, they can
Right.
have
Right.
none, or they can have 15 calls.
Right,
They'll be exhausted, but they'll have.
yes.
But that is an option to cut down your overtime as well.
Yep.
But we don't have any call company members that
We don't have any per diem employees.
Meet the minimum
meet the
qualification
minimum qualifications.
of AEMT firefighter
That
two.
don't already
Right.
work for other career firefighters.
Right.
Right. But, okay, so they work for us, so do we have call firefighters that do meet the minimum of firefighter two AEMT?
No.
Yeah, we have Mike Lewis.
Oh, yeah, just Mike Lewis, he's the only one. Sorry, I
No-
forgot.
No names.
So
We have one.
We have
We
one.
have one.
we have one, and so a theoretical is if he was working for another department, but it was an off shift for that, if we needed someone to cover a shift here, he could do per diem for that 24-hour period. If all the stars aligned and it didn't impact his shift B with
Or let's just say we had
stratum,
God forbid we had
and he's
COVID
on
issue.
shift A here, and it didn't impact travel or something like that, he could theoretically fill in
Yeah.
if we wanted to do a per diem. He would meet the criteria.
I don't know how that plays in with the SAFER grant, to be honest with you.
Okay, yep.
I know I think there needs to be, according to the grant, 4 career personnel working at all times.
Right.
I don't know the definition of career, that'd be a chief question, I'm not
All
sure.
4 personnel. right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not sure where
Yeah.
that's delineated, but
Just looking at options, I mean, and it only impacts one potential person that would meet the criteria.
Right, but I'm just gonna write that question down.
Because the SAFER grant, I believe, it is for manning per shift,
with career.
I believe.
Right.
But-
There's has to be 4 on duty,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure it was,
Yeah,
but I don't know all the details.
yeah, no, that is a great.
I can honestly tell you that, no, because I got a name, so I'm not gonna do that.
And that was why I was
No, I
trying
was
to
gonna
do
say,
that.
I was gonna say, if someone works for another career department,
Mhm.
that's specially unionized, you're not gonna see them work per diem.
Right,
Right, yes.
because it's not
Yep.
allowed with
Yep.
their
Certain
union.
unions, correct, will restrict them to
Mhm.
not work for another, even say they can't work for another
Right.
department and things like that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, then you cross all sorts of.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
I know where you're going with that one. I understand that part.
So the ultimate question is, do we approve of the increase? And this 1972 seems like a lower number than what was presented to us last time. Oh, not that it's a lot of, I thought it was I have 1987 stuck in my head.
I know Kathy and I met with the chief before I left to go over all the numbers.
Yes.
3 times over, so.
And I'm glad you guys did, because we knew this was gonna be a muddy one.
If you knew you were gonna be sitting here in the hot seat, so
That's the first
That
time.
is true.
I mean,
it gets you experience.
Right, let me-
because even if we did the proposed 1972 theoretical, and that was a one.
It is 1972.
Okay.
Okay.
For his budget.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was a 1.79 increase over where they are now. So a $1.79 increase over the starting is what I. Because when you look at this and you go to the line right above it, 2275, our officers are still going to be on the very low end of the scale
Well,
as an
that's the
average.
question though, because now,
They would be increased the same percentage
percentage or dollar wise?
if you went the $1.79 increase on that base piece here. That's the way it was. We discussed it last time. It's going to affect the matrix for steps and longevity, or certifications and step/longevity. Really, what it comes down to.
Right.
Because if they get more certifications, it could move up on the, and each year they're going across to the 20 years.
The only way it moves up for certifications is if they become a paramedic.
Right. Oh, we don't do it for swift water and all that stuff.
No.
It's just the basic fires.
Right.
And what
So-
about hazmat?
Nope.
No,
You guys don't do a
Nope.
stipend
no,
for
we,
hazmat?
we tried to do an educational one, I don't know, probably when she first started, based on
Yes.
certifications.
But it didn't fly.
It didn't fly, so.
Okay. I just knew that we
Correct.
had someone who was on the hazmat team
Yeah.
and swift water and all that stuff, so I just.
We have it all correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
which
if,
is a resource you bring back.
Yeah, exactly.
if we took the average wage from 1793 to 1972,
Mhm.
it's a $1.79 increase.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, and I'm not looking at percentages, I'm looking at dollar. Does that mean that this you can use this starting captain at 2270? Does that mean that the starting captain bumps up
2497.
2497, so it goes up the same dollar, not necessarily the same percentage, because the percentage would be different for someone with a higher wage. It's not an equal percentage, and I'm not sure if I'm making that.
So it's not 1.5% all the way through.
Well,
Well,
no, it's not, see, it wouldn't be
Correct.
1.5%, because 17.93 times 1.5%. What'd you say, 1 point what?
Or the difference?
015? 1 point,
1.79 is a dollar difference. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
well, no, so 1793 to 1972, that's a percentage. And I'm just gonna say, for simple.
Kathy has it, she has it. With the increase with the captains,
Right, but so, is a captain gonna go up $1.79, or are they gonna go up whatever that percentage is? 'Cause
they go up
technically-
the percentage. It's like $2.27
Okay,
or
so,
something like that.
for the higher ups, it is a bigger increase, the higher up you are the food chain.
And the only reason being is the difference between the labor grades.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Everybody gets, the steps are all the same.
So if I
But
make
the
if I
difference
make
between the
$100
labor
an hour,
grades.
the percentage, let's just say it's 2%, now I go to $102 an hour.
Right.
But where the guy that's making $50 an hour isn't going up to,
No.
he's going up to, well, my math is bad, $51 an hour,
Right.
if that was 2%, I think that is.
Yeah, we'll just use that. It was $2 on 100, $1 on 50.
Right, so that's what it is, so it's a percentage, whatever that increase is between 1793 and 1972, that same percentage, so if it's
Applies to
if it's
everybody.
2%, everyone goes up 2%. Not
But-
everyone goes up $1.97 or
Right,
$1.92.
it's the same percentage for everybody.
Well, there's a big difference when you get up into,
Well, of course, that's why, when you do percentages, it's gonna affect everything.
Right.
I don't,
That's where I have the concern with it, is the when percentage, I mean, it'd be one thing if literally steps was the dollar more,
$1 more.
and it was set on a dollar rather than a percentage.
Yeah.
right,
And then now where that comes into effect, that's for your certifications.
Mm.
Your longevity, well, then if you're talking step one, which I hate the step versus year one. I mean, it kind of really comes down to a year versus step unless you had a very bad performing year and they held you as step. So that's where your percentage increase, but it's based on the certification height is how it should be. In my, how I'm seeing it. Because like, yeah, going late, hypothetically, I'm just looking at, thank you for sending this a long time ago, because it's nice to visually. Labor grade 1 hourly is 15.76. Labor grade 2 is 17.09.
Which is a 5% increase.
Right, so that's a percent increase, whereas,
But it's not 5% for someone higher up.
right, it'd be so much easier if
Yes,
this
it
was.
is. From 1 to 2, it's 5% for everybody. And then after that, the difference between the steps is 2.5% for everybody.
Because we go up to labor grade 11.
Do we do merit increases here? I forget.
No,
Do they get annual increase? Oh, we decide that in our budget process.
right. And the annual increase is the step. That's all.
Which is 2.5.
That's 2.5%.
Yeah.
Unless a couple of years ago, it was 2-3 years ago, a while ago, you gave a COLA.
Yeah, it's been a while since.
It's been a while since you did
We've
that.
done steps almost every year.
Right, but one year you did just a COLA instead of a step.
But the COLA was almost,
The COLA was 3%.
it was high.
Right, so our grades, how they, now where did the labor grades come from, originate from?
LGC.
Which is,
It was the
Like
local
primaries.
government center.
okay, yep, okay, thank
Hampshire
you.
Municipal.
Which is
Okay.
not New Hampshire municipal.
Yeah,
Which, so it affects kind of across the board for everyone, because really the grades that we're looking at is labor grade 4, which is where our firefighter AMTs start,
mhm,
which, based on what you sent us, it was starting at 19.72,
Right.
72 already.
not,
So
well,
was that a
not-
projected one you
that's
sent?
the projected one.
Thank you, okay, that's what I was just asking. Then it's labor grade 4 firefighter paramedic,
Yes,
okay.
labor grade 4P.
Okay, yeah, it's almost a $2 difference. Then our captain AEMTs fall in at labor grade 8. Okay, and then labor grade 8P.
Mhm.
So we're really talking 4 and 8 based on the municipal, local government, whatever.
Right,
And so all departments kind of follow these grades, or?
the majority of them do, but a lot of the other departments, when it came from LGC, it was a 3% difference between the steps. And that's what the other departments are at. And the commissioners decided that they only wanted, from 1 to 2, at 5%, and then after that would be a 2.5% for the steps.
All right. John, is this what you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
I know if you look at it across the board, it's a huge sample size and a big picture to take in, but, I mean, even if the captains got the increase, they'd still be at the middle.
Increase.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in the middle of the road to the lower
Yeah.
side of
Mhm.
an hourly wage,
Yeah.
even with it. I think really as a district, it's a tough pill to swallow, but I think instead of waiting every 8 years or 9 years to play catch-up, you know, we should be reviewing wages and salaries every 3 years. That way it's not such a big chunk or a big sum of money.
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean,
I know it's easier said than done, everybody's busy or
Mhm.
whatever, but that's exactly what's happened here. This is what's happened in other departments.
Yes.
because personally, if I was working this whole wage thing, I'd rather base on the certification, like you said. So our starting expectation, whatever labor grade 4 is, our starting expectation of AEMT, CDL, and
Fire 2.
Fire 2, and that will equal out to theoretically, if we did the 19.72. Instead of that percentage to going to the captain and all that stuff, it's like, okay, you get $1 or $1.50 increase because you're now an officer with responsibilities, rather than that percentage that has now jumped 4 grades of that percentages to get there. And then as you go, your percentage would be, your longevity would be where the percentage would come in, but if it was more of a established $1 or $1.50 for, okay, you wanted to get paramedic, or you went $2 or something, yeah.
That was proposed in the chief's first budget,
It was,
actually.
and it was shot down.
Okay.
And if they're a paramedic, they get 10% more than if they were just an A.
Right. So that is that plus increase
Right.
for that next skill level. And
Right.
and it is a percentage of what it is. Yeah. Because funding for whatever goes to the table is going to be the hardest part, and the public may have concerns on how they're able to afford it. That's kind of where we're trying to find that happy medium that, but I mean, it is, I look at it as a high-risk career that has a higher percentage of something going wrong. I mean,
Well, there's a higher chance of someone over there not going home at the end of the day
Right.
than what I do.
I make more than this, and I work at a desk job doing medical records. It's a,
You might get a paper.
Hardly.
No,
Right.
I'm not.
right, I might lift a heavy box and hurt my back more than it is. But that's where I have, this is a higher risk of ergonomic injuries, inhalation injuries. I mean, we've seen this stuff where
Slip
they're
and fall. In the wintertime, slip and fall.
shoveling out hydrants that we shouldn't be.
I shovel on mine, they never have to shovel on mine. I get mad when they see they got out there before me. It's like, no, it's my fun.
So what is that happy balance?
That's a great question. That's,
What, is there any additional information that you think you need to make your decision? Because if it doesn't get made tonight, I want to make sure the chief has.
I think that
Absolutely.
I think the budget committee wanted more comparison to like departments than just the area departments.
And
So
yes,
he did do that
And it's-
on the one that you have. I didn't do the averages for it because I didn't think.
Which went up even more.
it's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but
I mean, when you look at this,
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm personally.
No, this works for me. I mean,
You know, okay, I'm not gonna compare, you know, it's still a, you know, I work in the hotel industry, whether I do a 300-room hotel or a 85-room hotel, the wages are gonna be very similar, and not gonna be that much variance.
I mean, the only thing that's really not included on this is what the chief and I make and how we stack up compared to the other.
Yeah,
area
and the other thing in here is you're not, I mean, okay, you say family health plan, but we could have Harvard Pilgrim and Franklin could have Blue Cross Blue Shield. You know, it's not, I don't know what they have. You know, Guilford could have Sigma or excuse me, or whoever. So, you know, technically, what's the, you know, there's other variables in there that, you know, what's their deductibles. I mean, if you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts of it, you can't.
well, I can tell you that Plymouth has the same insurance that we do.
Who's ours?
Hmm?
Who's ours?
It's Blue Cross,
Okay.
Anthem.
I can tell you that Franklin doesn't pay for this.
Yeah, well, no, but it's, you know, okay, but who, you know, there's a lot.
There is a lot, absolutely, there's a lot, it's a tough decision.
It's a big decision because we have to make a decision that we may have taxpayers that haven't gotten a raise for 2 years, and now we're gonna tell them, well, we're gonna charge, you know, we're gonna tax you more. But everything's going up, and I don't wanna use that as an excuse. I don't.
I know, but it is.
we're in the low end of the occupational field.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's-
some people are doctors, some people are custodians, some people are manufacturers. For this market,
I just saw
We
a
are
part-time
on-
job. I can go work for FedEx for $30 an hour for a part-time job.
My biggest fear as a deputy chief is that we lose somebody, and I don't want to lose anybody. and then we can't fill the position because there's so many that.
Well, then your overtime's gonna go through the roof.
Right.
I mean, there's multiple departments right now that have had openings for extended period of time, and
There's no
that just at least a lot of issues. So that, for me personally, as far as the department and the district, that is my biggest fear. And it's not necessarily, you know, a captain, it's the firefighters, that maybe someone who's been here for 5 years can go somewhere else and make more starting off. I mean, that's an option that they could take. I don't know if they would, but just to lose that 1 or 2 bodies would be huge for us. And again, I hope it doesn't happen, but that is my concern.
I mean, I know this based on, I don't know, but, you know, to me it would matter, like, if Paul and I were a team, like, we always go out on the ambulance runs.
Sure.
And we go to an accident, and I always know that Paul's gonna go to the passenger side to check on the passenger. I don't have to tell him, we pull up, I'm gonna go check on the driver, he's gonna check on the passenger. And now I got John, who's new, as my partner, and John's right next to me, and I thought he was good. I mean, does that matter?
It does.
It does.
I mean,
I don't know.
It's huge.
You know, they say seconds counts, but.
I call it the institutional knowledge, right?
Mhm.
That's just that. So it does take somebody a while to get up to speed when they get hired here. We're very, very fortunate that we have progressive training and we focus on them a lot, so they contribute right away. They have some basic fundamental understanding because they have the certifications. But that institutional knowledge, you know, what road to take, you know, what's in this compartment, what's in this bag, it takes a while to get there.
It does. Not like the old label makers on all these. Sure. But, or even just, you know, a big building, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you know that this door is, you know, stuck, but, you know, this door is gonna be the open door.
That is a downside if you were to go per diems and things like that, is that your inspections and the pre-plans and stuff like that, someone who's on shift has gone to that building and seen the inside of the manufacturing place before it's filled with smoke. Whereas a per diem, like, because Farmington is a district that uses per diem a lot, Gilmanton as well. The downside in Farmington is now if they have a manufacturing place that they go to, you have someone coming down from Laconia or from Hooksett or something like that to cover a shift.
Yeah.
They don't quite know that when you go inside, hey, there's a significant hazmat room in this one room, unless, because, yeah, the knuckle dragger pulling the hose, smashing the door open, and salvage vent and all that stuff, but still, there's that inherent team cohesiveness, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, I think that's an intangible in anything that you do.
So,
I was going to say that, you know, I try to explain this to the public as much as possible. Is we're a fire department, we're a fire district, right? Tilton and Northfield are part of the fire district.
Yes.
I know they're separate towns with the district, and there's a lot of positives for being a fire district, and there's some negatives. But you know, our personnel are tasked with doing additional things that someone from a municipality wouldn't necessarily have to do. You know, mowing lawns, shoveling hydrants. You know, in certain departments, you know, if there's a sink or a drain that's clogged, they call facilities up and they come and take care of it. Not that we're above that, we're complaining about it, but there's just, you know, working for a fire district, there's some different responsibilities and jobs that we take on that a normal firefighter, or captain, or chief, or deputy chief, or, I mean, captain really should be the business manager, not the administrative assistant.
right,
But you're gonna have to go.
that's what you're saying.
No.
So, rough math impacts of this, going from to bring it up to this 1972, and my math's not 100%, but I just did it based on the floor people alone, you're talking $100,000.
Well, his budget is based on, his budget he's presented is
Based on that, right. But I'm saying compared to where it was, that's how much of an increase it is. Just the rough down and dirty dollars, it's about, and as I said, it's a floor personnel because I just did that 16 rather than throwing everyone in when I first did it. And it came to $100,608. So that's what the increase in the budget's going to be for the public.
across the board.
As an across the board. And then actually it's going to be higher than that. It was about 612 or 6,000 approximately. So you're talking, if you had your administrative assistants, that's probably another 12,000, and if you had your administration, it would be about another 24,000, roughly.
154, 191, 131.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we picked that out earlier.
Okay, 154 what?
191.
Thank you.
You know, why, I guess my philosophy is, you're talking 1972, when Franklin's 18-something, Guilford's 19, I mean, Plymouth is a little higher, and Bristol, and why not, go with Guilford? I mean, they're, 19 is right.
So if you did,
It's more than Franklin.
the only two that you'd be higher than is Franklin and Guilford.
Do we have,
If you look,
do we have to?
if you're looking, you're right, you're looking at the starting hourly. If you look at the totals, all the far right,
Or what if you brought us to the average?
which is 1959.
Right. So then that would be an increase of 74,867 times 867 that you gave us times 20 roughly. Now, just to back up a second, it's really to the 12 because the wages we're getting rebated for the safer 4.
Right,
Okay, I just thought of that part of this piece in there,
right.
so that it's 74,867.
We have money in the grant that would pay for their increase.
Right, so
Yes,
so it would be the times 12 versus the
Yeah,
times
12.
16.
No, 12, not 16.
12 on the floor, 4 running the place.
I'm not talking about that. I'm including all that in there. It's not 20, it's 16 total. Because 4 of those would be covered by the grant.
Right.
Right
And
now
that
we
would
have
be
20 people
100
on staff.
and that'd be $175,881 roughly for the safer.
That's just,
Which we're not paying for, that's getting reimbursed.
Right,
So it's luckily not part of our equation.
right. And that's not part of the equation.
if everyone had taken family on the safer, then we'd be talking a different conversation. Right.
But the 74.8,
Yes, it would be, but,
and you guys probably already did this math, I'm sure.
What?
The 74867, so the average that you had for the starting impact.
For the operating budget, for the increase?
Yep.
Yep, the 154, 191.
yep,
In that times the 16, because it would be 3/4 plus the 4 running the place,
mm-hmm,
so times 16. I had an extra number in there, because there's no way it came out to 1 million. My eyes almost bulged on that, times the 16. That's so, I'm doing something wrong here.
okay, so that does not include, of course, the Medicare portion and the retirement portion of the safer people. That's just salaries that we're talking,
Oh, we're talking salaries.
just salaries and wages.
Because everything else is just a percentage of
Right.
of that.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is that if we were to go, theoretically, were to go this year to the 1959, which is the average, come next year, it's going to be below average again.
Yes,
Just because we know that other departments are doing this exact same thing, and
And they're taking big sign-on bonuses too.
yeah, they are.
When you do a sign-on, there's all kinds of options you can do. The option could be, we'll give you $1,000 sign-on bonus. With the option, you have to stay here at least
Yes.
3 years.
longevity.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to, I mean, there's gimmicks to everything. I mean, nothing is free.
Agreed.
Laconia has a $3,000 to $4,000 sign-on bonus. Does it have a lengthy stay?
I'm not sure. I know they've started one, but
I'm not sure how that works out for
I know
them.
they have job openings right now. That's
Yes.
all.
But the downside to that is you can have a longevity contract and a
Right.
price if you do it, but usually people, the police force is a prime example. We went through this a few years ago. People were getting buyouts. Another department would do a buyout of their, because they've already been to the state police training. They've already got all that stuff. So even though the buyout is $6,000,
They're paying.
Tilton is paying, I'll pay that $6,000 to grab a Northfield person that's fully qualified rather than go through the longevity of training and all that.
Right,
I have someone I can, so,
fully in the box. They're all packaged up, ready to go. You don't have to wait for, you're still FTO, but
Right.
you-
they have OJT
you're
there,
ready to go, you're ready to go.
right, rather than taking someone from the initial up. I mean, other options with this, you can look at going as a BLS/ALS transport, and then you make your minimum requirement, EMT. But you still, per shifts, would be a managing nightmare for the chief and the deputy, making sure that there be at least one AEMT or paramedic paired with that. That would be an operational nightmare that they would have to do, but that's one way where you can, your baseline then, because remember, the safer people coming in are only basics. They're not even required to be AEMT.
One that will be, has started or is starting
To
soon.
pay for it for themselves.
No, he is a paramedic, I believe.
Right.
So but he's considered a safer employee.
Right, so the safer will match
His salary.
his salary.
Am
They
I,
won't
am I
match-
saying that right, that we have an employee
Yes.
coming back?
Our safer people, even though they may not be an AMT, are getting paid as AMTs.
Right. They are.
All right, that throws that one.
Yeah. Although we're pretty fortunate because most of them are, or in the class right
So
now.
we lucked out with that, where
Yes.
we
Yeah,
didn't have
we
to
did.
pay for that training.
But
Right.
we have someone coming back online as a paramedic.
Right.
But they are qualified as, in terms of,
They're safer.
they're safer, considered
Yes.
safer, great.
Do we have any safers or basics only?
We have one that's in
One.
class right now. All the others are
And he paid for that class himself? I
Yes,
think
he
you
did.
said? Yep, because he didn't want.
correct.
So we lucked out with the safer grouping right now, but theoretically, we are currently running a shift with a BLS on it. Now, he's not going to be running by himself. There's going to be someone senior paired up with him, and if there's an ALS and a BLS, for most calls, he'll probably be the driver versus the guy in the back, unless it's a very mundane, and then it's that
Right.
training opportunities and stuff like that. I mean,
I have a headache. Nothing's up.
we have other calls that would be a BLS can manage.
Yeah, I mean.
I agree that there needs to be something.
So
I agree 100% there has to be something, but what is something? How much is something? How much something do we need?
And then the next question is, okay, do you,
Because we
Keep
have,
the
we
family
have,
health
we
the
have
way it is,
citizens,
but increase
residents
it.
of the district that can't afford to pay their bills. And that's the tough pill to swallow. But I look at the intangibles, like the deputy said, but I also look at the, okay, if all of a sudden we start losing people, how much is that overtime gonna take a hit?
and train up, and other costs that we have to pay?
Well, it's
It
employees.
would be huge.
Yeah.
It's a
I
fine line.
would, if there was a way to take away the overtimes, not all of it, but some of it, I'd pay them $25 an hour. I mean, look at the overtime, $250,000, and what do you suppose it's gonna go up?
Well, this year we're budgeted for 215. What's that payroll number for 185?
Friday.
Friday.
So that's as of last Friday.
Mhm.
So two months to go.
We're probably gonna be over.
You don't know.
we've had vacancies.
We have. Let me just double check that, because I might have done that through
Had babies.
tomorrow.
So it's about 17,000, 17,900 a month. So
What you use
times
for
10. I just took the,
17.9?
well, I took the overtime was, I have the wrong number.
It's going to be close if you go 17.9. It's 214.8.
Trying to get the right one. So 215,000 is what we have right there for our current overtime appropriated. So divided by 12 months is what we based it upon. Comes out, the wrong buttons are not clearing all the way on this thing. 215,000 divided by 12 months. We are approximately 17,916 a month. Now times 10 months approximate. Isn't it?
Yeah, say 10.
Yeah, so approximately 10 months, and I came out at 179, 166, so we're slightly higher than that. But you're looking at, when I say 17,000 a month, so you're looking at up to 34 more added. So the 215, yeah, it's gonna come out pretty much right on par.
Yeah, that was
My
through this
fuzzy
week.
math came out to exactly 215,000.
Yeah, so it's coming out right on par with the
So we're on,
Appropriate.
we're not necessarily gonna,
plus or minus.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna be relatively okay.
Yeah.
What do you got, 8 more pay periods?
let's see, this was pay period 39, so,
So 13.
yeah.
And so the 250 increase from the 215 on the overtime is based on the 4 additional positions.
No, the 215 number was a number that was cut by the budget committee.
Last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I brought it up, I made a motion to bring it up to 215 and it passed.
Yeah, thank goodness.
That was normal, because it was below 200, I think.
Mm.
I mean, is there a possibility of, well, that's, what do I say there? See if you went up $1.79, but the family health plan, if there was a way of that not going up,
That didn't go up.
Well-
Health insurance went down this year.
but I'm just going based on the averages of what the deputy gave us earlier, is that the increase of the 1959 when we walked across it, salary, holiday, family health plan,
And
it's currently
and
28.
that figure was based on 2021,
That's right.
not on 2022.
Yeah.
So I guess I asked the question earlier about information that we can bring to you to help you with your decision. Whether it's just you need to sleep on it a little bit more, or you need to,
I'd like to see the number with 19, whatever the average was, 1959.
1959.
I just want to,
Wings. Oh, as a factor
Starting
into
out.
everything.
yeah,
Oh, wait a minute.
Look that up real quick.
All right, so,
Instead of 1972.
this way I can say,
Mm-hmm.
we're average, we're not above average, we're not below average. Right now, we're below average significantly.
Yes,
We're bringing us up into line
for this year.
at the, but, you know, it's,
Yeah,
and I may wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, that was a dumb thing, it should be 1972.
Yeah. I mean, we would still only be ahead of 2 because even Bristol would still be above you if you did the 1959. Well,
Yeah.
theoretically, you're still going to be in alignment with these others
Yeah,
anyways, because the only ones below you would be Franklin and Guilford. But Guilford, once you become an officer there, is it captain or lieutenant?
Lieutenants now.
So
Get rid of their
they don't have captains anymore, so, I mean, their officer
we
in Guilford,
10 to a cap.
what captains?
Captains, still captains.
I mean, they're $7 more once they become an officer.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a significant jump if they go from one to the other.
it's almost 10.
Uh-huh. I mean,
For all
they're
10,
not
1033.
The same,
So there are three, floor and 3 and 1 officer.
correct,
24/7.
correct.
That would be the only difference is just what the overall impact of going, I agree with Eric, it would be nice to just see that comparison of the overall impact if everything went to the 1959 versus 1970.
1959?
Yeah, that's what we came out as the average. for everything.
And I still have, up here, I have to straighten it out. It's just, I'm just thinking, playing it all out in my head where the,
Oh, that one there.
But that is an average, and that would be $1.79.
I mean, does it bring that number down to, 1.1 million even? I don't know. Does it cut $82,000 out of the budget? I don't know. Does it cut 30,000 out of the budget?
Let me see, I might have one close. Stop clicking.
Well, we have, that clock is,
Yeah, you have 10
I got
minutes of deputy.
I know we have 10 minutes,
MS.
we're at 7:20. Hard stop, deputy, I understand. But you have
Thank you.
lights.
Thank you.
Well, if you went with a 5.4% COLA, which would bring it up to like 1890.
But see, that doesn't make it our starting wage, it makes it the way, it's just a, for this year, it's a 12-month.
That would make, if you give a COLA, that is the starting wage, because that affects the starting wage.
Get the cost of living adjustment, and so that.
Right,
would
it
be-
affects everything. So that would bring it to 1,105,394 roughly.
Your overall salary, that.
The
your
overall
number,
salary.
it-
Yeah,
it
what
would
what
be
was the
again-
wage? Oh, the overall salary?
Yes,
Okay, so can you say that whole, the COLA?
1,105,394.
1105.
And that's just on line 110?
Yes,
So,
And
Right
that
now it's
COLA,
118350 that she's recommending.
so it would be 1105394, and that's it.
Right.
And what was that dollar amount?
Percent.
the COLA.
it was a
percentage.
5.4% COLA, which is less than what Social Security is giving.
Social Security's giving 5.9, right?
Right.
Okay.
So if you went with a 5.9, that would probably bring it up to your $19 an hour. But I just haven't
Well, I
had-
said 1950, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm like,
So that's knocking pretty much 77 roughly.
Yeah, and that brings holidays down to 53,856.
and what about overtime?
That's the chief's number, not mine.
Okay. So I'm gonna transpose it onto,
That's
if I did that, that would be 1,105,394. You said holiday adjustment would come to
53,856,
3. One more time, I'm sorry.
856.
Thank you, that's part of it. And then the overtime, that's just a rough calculation.
Right,
Okay.
and then if you gave a step and COLA, it would be 1,133,074. So that's probably
Close to 90.
close to your 1950. So that would be the step and the COLA. But that would bring your base up to, whatever I said, 1890.
Is the COLA would bring up to 1890?
The COLA would bring it to 1890.
Okay,
And then if you gave them a step with that, it would just increase it that little bit more, roughly, not even quite $30,000.
What was it again with the goal, 1854?
Which one?
What was the starting salary with the?
Oh, 1890, I think.
1890.
Yeah. Wait a minute, I've said way too many numbers.
yep, and that's why I was.
1890, yes.
Yeah.
So that's-
And if you wanted to bring them,
But even if adding a COLA into it, only brings that, if I'm correct, up to 1937, still below average.
I know.
Mhm.
So if you bring them to a step and a COLA,
And another COLA. I mean, no, 2 steps in a COLA.
Where are you coming with that?
I don't know.
Trying to understand your logic.
Just trying to see what different numbers come out to. Two steps in a COLA comes to 1985, if my math is right.
Why would
1986.
you
Which is
Two
more
steps.
than,
It's right on what we, well, it's a little more than what we said
Right.
originally. But yeah,
What's your theory on how they would get 2 steps in a COLA?
I'm just playing with numbers.
if you're gonna do
Okay.
that, you might as
I'm
well
just
go
playing with
with,
numbers, I'm just saying,
Okay.
okay,
All right.
if you're playing that, you should go with what the chief,
Yeah.
yeah,
because it's less.
yeah, oh, I know that. Well, I just wanted to see where it came out, that's all.
So, do we want the breakdown, is it the number 1950 or 1959 that you wanted to use to see how it all shakes out?
I mean, 1959 is what the average salary is according to the chief survey.
Correct.
So I'd like to see,
Okay.
that's, I'm me.
I agree, because that's based on a source document metric of this average of these departments.
All right, so I will
That's your,
refigure,
that's what I call a consensus.
I will refigure everything.
I respect what Paul's thinking. I know what he's thinking, but trying to find that happy medium, so.
What do you think, Paul?
I'm against it, but
Okay.
like I said, you got,
You're against any
no,
type of...
I'm not against the raise. You know, you're right, it should be somewhere in the, here. But, you know, you got 1870s in Franklin, then you got 19 here, and you know, 19 is,
But that's based on 2021 numbers, and they're only going up. So if we get ahead for 6 months,
That would be amazing.
I,
and as the deputy said, you look at your numbers, every 2 or 3 years.
I think that might be a good practice.
I'm just, I'm
Absolutely.
a firm believer in not, you overdo it, then you expect it every time there. We got it this last year, let's put in for another one. Next year and next year, so next year they're not happy with a 2.5% increase, let's go for 5. I mean, that's what I mean.
I don't see that happening.
Like Eric said, you know, there are people out here, and I'm not neglecting, say they don't deserve a raise. And I'm not saying, we are below, there's no doubt about it.
I realize that, but you also have to realize that our employees are out there too.
And you're right, and what's going to...
And they have the same bills everybody else does, and, you know,
And they also have better benefits than the average person.
but the benefits don't pay the bills.
Well, if you had to pay for your insurance, it would pay for the bills, because I pay for my insurance.
When it comes down to the overall, I mean, that's what, really this overall number is what is, whether it's in the wages now, or if it's in, I'm getting better insurance because now I'm paying less deductible, then you're paying a higher deductible, so that's a higher versus your income versus your outflow.
Right.
So that is a very valued, what he's saying
It
as
is.
well.
I think it's all important. I think the only thing that the chief and the department are trying to do is to make it fair. I mean, that's really it. For the fire service, this is what's fair for this
And I'm
area.
just,
Right.
and I agree.
No,
with
yeah,
you.
I mean-
And 19, yeah, we're not at the bottom, but there again, we're not at the top, we're probably a little below average,
With,
the 19.
so you're 1972 or 1959?
$19 an hour.
19.
Even?
Okay,
Franklin.
19 even.
Oh, Guilford, same as Guilford, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Does Guilford currently have vacancies? Just hypothetically, I'm not, but
No.
what about Franklin?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so,
Laconia does,
Yes.
yes,
Bristol,
Yes.
yes,
Plymouth,
yes.
They've had it for a while.
so the other departments that don't have vacancies is because the people want to stay with what they know rather than moving around a lot.
I don't know. Well, Belmont's not on here. I don't know if Belmont has a vacancy right now or not.
he does, yeah,
I think they do.
I think they do
I think
too.
it just got filled actually. I don't know, I know.
The one that
I know
surprised me
someone
on
just joined it.
Carol. The only that I know
One
Carol.
person just left, but I know another person just joined.
All
I'm
right,
not sure.
7:29.
Yes. My mother-in-law's helping me out by watching my son.
I think, yeah, the overall impact of the I would say, well, we already have what, $19 even would be for a number, it would be the 71,178, because we already have that number on the.
Well, they have different, don't forget they don't have different holiday pay, they have
Right.
family health, it changes across.
So, I think from what I heard, Paul would like to see a $19
So 19 to
overall.
1959?
across the metric,
Yeah.
a 1959, and we have the 1972 as the existing budget right here.
Right,
test
that is
sample.
correct.
I think definitely seeing those three things would be a fair
Yep.
impact, because then it's looking at how it's impacted for them both, or for them all, if that works for you.
I mean, alls I'm saying is,
I gotta see the hard numbers.
when these safer grant ends, we're talking major
If we keep them, yeah.
major money, or they're gonna have to go.
Right.
And I'm gonna be the first guy to say, hey, I don't wanna see that happen, but if people want it to happen, it's gonna
Right.
happen, so.
And I spoke clearly to that also, that when the safer grant ends, is what the public says is what
That's right.
is the way it's gonna go. I mean, that's why we need to find a way to make it economical, cost versus benefits, saving money with the ambulances and things like that, to show that it pays off it.
You're
In
right,
the
I
end.
agree with you.
Well, it doesn't, these figures do not include safer.
Right.
They include what it's gonna cost us, it doesn't include what we're getting reimbursed.
Right.
And I understand that.
But theoretically, and I think this is where you're talking, is
And
in
you're
2
talking
years,
an
when they,
increase of 100 and some odd thousand, what'd you say, 100,000?
I had like 100,608
Yeah,
for this,
for this year.
right.
Yeah.
And then 2 years from now, and then you inherit 4 of those onto the budget, which would be at 74,000 theoretically, so you're looking at 150, so you're looking at about 300,000 additional if the department was to absorb that
Yep, yeah,
safer people.
But when the budget goes to the district, it already includes the safer people.
Right.
The money we're getting reimbursed is not included
Right.
in that. So
But-
they're voting on them already.
Right, but the impact that we're doing here is if we're creating a higher baseline, and then 2 years from now, that higher baseline would be a factor involved with absorbing 4 additional members onto the, so there is I can see it from both sides of where you're talking with this, is where it's leading down the road is how we're gonna pick up the pieces in 2 years.
in 2 years, yeah.
So I can see, because it will impact it, but, I'm sorry.
All right, so what numbers do I have to refigure?
1959 and $19 an hour. I think we can probably get that done this week, and
Just need it for Tuesday.
maybe? Don't you, I thought you just,
I don't have anything else to do, Tim. Okay? Yes, I can work on it.
I wonder why you're going there.
God, you sound like me, I almost walked out today.
All right.
how about before Tuesday?
Okay, that's better.
All right,
All right,
I think that's.
so I guess I make a motion to table this till the next
Just
meeting.
withdraw your
Just
motion.
All right, we'll try my
You,
motion.
well, you only brought it up for discussion.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
not voting.
No,
Right.
so,
All right, so I will add budget to the agenda as a separate
Yep.
line.
And we
I've
already have a
already put-
station,
Yeah, that's
placeholder
already
for
on
me.
there.
Yep, so Kevin will come again, because he can speak better to the building process than I can, on that way of things. Okay.
all right.
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
We bought 2 new steel jacks.
Yes.
Was this replacements or new?
Question. I don't know off the top of my head, honestly.
That was my
New.
only question before
New.
I signed it.
I'm pretty sure
They were new because it was to make 2 complete
Sets.
sets.
Are these on the engine or are these on the rescue?
They're going to be on the engines.
Okay, so these are small spreader bars.
Yes,
These are,
The stabilization.
stabilization
Yes,
bars.
correct. We have the space now for them, so
Mhm.
that's why.
okay. I'm hesitant, but it's enough to get my signature out of it.
Ah, that is a great question. It's at Ospey Mountain Electronics right now.
Yes,
If you ever want to see it, just stop in there, 'cause I think it's going to be there for a few more days.
yes, it is.
Right off of 140, so they're just finishing up the
Okay.
radios and all that stuff, so. Actually, I saw it for the first time today, actually. I've seen it in passing, but I haven't actually looked inside of it.
Is
So
it outside?
it's inside, they have an
Inside.
inside day now, it's the new building, so.
I may try, depending on my schedule, try to swing in there.
Yeah, no, I think you're,
Alright, so I'm comfortable signing that. That's why I was hesitant on that, was I just wanted the spreader bars, I wanted to know about that, where they're $1,000 each.
Yeah.
Is there any other business to come before us this morning, or this evening?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 7:32.
And I will second that.
Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries, we are adjourned at 7:35.
Alright,
And I hit the stop button.
the like button.